Hello, Hardin County. Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Hardin Local Weekly Live. I'm here with Scott Lucas. Say hey, Scott.
Hey, hey.
We also have John O'Brien,
How's it going?
Nathaniel O'Brien. Do you like Nate or Nathaniel?
I go by whatever people call me. I've got so many different names. It's like if my mom gets mad at me, she pulls out all three syllables. If I'm okay, I'm just late. So it's okay.
Oh, good. Um, and we also have our special guest, State Senator Matt Deneen.
How are you all doing? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Matt.
Thank
We're
you.
glad you're here. Well, this week we have pretty much a full program. We're going to start off with Nate. At first, he'll be giving a business update, and then we'll move on to John O'Brien, who will talk about events. And then finally, we will have a conversation with Matt Deneen about what's going on in his life. But before we do that, I wanted to talk quickly about how you can stay in the know and learn more about what we're doing. You can go to hardinlocal.com and then click on the bell in the top left corner, put your email address in there so that we have it and we can send you email updates in the future. You can also, there's like step 1, step 2, to where you can, on that page where you can sign up for other social media accounts and just make sure that you are fully plugged into Hardin Local for the future. Scott, did you have anything you wanted to talk about during this time frame?
Yeah, so just to kind of before we get started, it is June, it's summer, and there's a lot of busyness going on, a lot of events like John will talk about. So I just want to remind everybody to just be aware, be kind, and go out and do your thing. But with that being said, we can go into Nate.
All right, great. Well, we're going to do this a little different this week. We're going to try to be more conversational instead of letting everybody just talk for 5 minutes or however long. So bear with us as we do not script anything here. And everything that we say is off the top of our heads.
Especially
So,
mine.
Nate,
Yes, sir.
glad to have you on. And
Well, I'm
hopefully you'll
glad to be
be
here.
on. Yeah, I hope you're on every week, whenever your schedule aligns. I've noticed, and my parents have noticed, my mom specifically pointed out your updates to me a couple of years ago, and they've just kept getting better on business updates. So we're really thrilled to have you here.
Oh, I appreciate it. I've lived here my entire life. Went to Sonora Elementary before they got rid of it. Went to the Old East before they got rid of it. Went to Central. I think I was just a year behind John. So I grew up in those circles. I've lived in Hardin County my entire life. My wife, who's a travel agent, was Share the Magic Travel. We've both lived here our entire lives. We both went to Central, and I used to write for the paper. So I've been around. I've been fortunate to have just a lot of people. Like I don't possibly know everything. It would be awesome to be a genius, but I'm not. So it's been great to have people that just send me messages or tag me and something said, "Hey Nate, did you see this?" And I'm blessed to have the platform that people trust me, say, hey, if Nate says it, it's probably true, or he's got a reason why. So I think
Mhm.
that's what's kind of helped the brand, I guess, is the guy with Facebook. But like, I don't get paid anything for what I do. Some people have helped Courtney, and I appreciate it by saying, hey, I saw your husband's post, so I'm support you, and that's great. I appreciate it, but I just do it because I love the community. I mean, I like what I do. I always like something that's new and shiny. So I think
Mhm.
I'll stick with it for quite a while.
Great. And you also have quite the following on Twitter for your sports account. You want to plug that account real quick?
Yeah, it's Nate IN Sports, because the way I used to answer the phone at the News Enterprise, I'd say, this is Nate in Sports. So it just kind of became a thing. And somebody one time said, is your name in sports? Like it was a real last name or something. So it was just a running joke that stuck. So when I started writing for the Courier and other things, just had to have a Twitter, and it's just grown and grown and grown. I think I've got followers in all 120 counties, college coaches, recruiters, whatever it is. A lot of people come to me and just say, hey, do you know this, or can you hook me up? And I've been able to set up other people through my contacts.
Okay, great. So you wanted to talk, I have some topics you want to talk about. You want to talk about the scooters opening?
Oh yeah, sure. So if you haven't been on Mulberry 62, whatever we're calling it, depending on where you live, that is right across in a very busy area. is we got the new fire station across the street, and then across Mulberry, you've got scooters. It is drive-through only, which was kind of strange to be right next to a hotel because you think you'd want to walk in traffic. But other
Mhm.
than that, I've seen them. It's been doing great. I don't drink coffee personally, but I know people rave about it and like it. I don't know if any of you all are big coffee drinkers have been out there yet, or I know they think
No,
they have smoothies too. I could probably get.
I love coffee.
Have you been out there?
No, not yet, but thanks for the reminder.
I've been
What
over
type
there.
of what do
They
they
have like
have
they have
there?
like a 99 cent cup of coffee. It's a good cup, 99 cent cup of coffee. If you can get one that cheap, that's a good deal.
Yeah, especially if it tastes good.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think they're
All
going
right.
to be a great addition to our area. I know we've had a huge coffee boom in the last, 2 or 3 years with E-Town getting 2 Dunkin' Donuts, Radcliffe getting a Dunkin' Donuts, E-Town getting scooters now, and I believe Dutch Brothers Coffee, if I remember, has been announced for Radcliffe. So we've done just a huge boom and uptick in coffee places. I think it's going to continue. And I'll kind of tie this one in. I know we're kind of skipping down, but Seven Brew Coffee will be entering the Hardin County market for the first time, as they'll be going into the Shoney's Cracker Barrel auxiliary overflow lot. So they're not tearing down the building. It's gonna be a brand new build, but that's another drive-through coffee location they'll be entering on 62 as well.
Cool.
And that was Seven Brew Coffee.
That's
I
Seven
think
Brew.
that's the one that, like, up here in Louisville, they've opened like 20 of them in the past year, I swear.
Wow.
So that'll be in the
Cool,
parking
cool.
lot. And all right, well, that's cool to know. What about I used to live in Georgia, so Quick Trip was a big thing down there.
Yeah, I live on 210, mile past the country club. So this is another gas station in that corner. Well, we've got 5-star racetrack. I think racetrack's definitely less than 5 years old.
Mhm.
Now you've got Quick Trip over there right on the corner, and this will be good for the people coming from Glendale because this will be the only one that's accessible from Dixie on that side before you get to Lincoln Parkway. I've been in twice. I've got the people saw my post. I'm diabetic. I'm type 1. And I love the Jolly Rancher no sugar watermelon slushy. You get like an extra large for like $2.14 or something. I actually probably get
Mhm.
another one before I go to work today. We didn't want to go out for dinner the other day, so I went over there, got pizza. The pizza was great. It was fantastic. For gas station pizza is very good. It was
Mhm.
very open. Hadn't been in a Quick Trip in a while. They probably since Georgia on the way back from like Orlando one year.
Mhm.
But I love the openness of the candy wall and the snack wall where it's just one big thing. I'm sure for stockers, it's easier to stock, but I love that the wall of slushies, the wall of coffee that they have. Uh, Other people that are more than Quick Trip a lot more can go into it, but I also like the outside that we have filtered water that you can get on the outside of the building just by showing your credit
Mhm.
card or your Apple Pay and the ice
Mhm.
like that. So you can get ice in specific sizes, so you're no longer stuck in small bag or big bag. So I
Mhm.
like a lot of stuff that they have to offer.
Yeah, it was a great. I always liked going to that gas station back when I lived in Georgia. They always just did things differently, made it a little more special feeling, or just more VIP, I guess. I don't know. But then I also see on here you talk about a furniture store. Um,
Yeah,
you want to talk about
uh,
that?
sure. Big Sandy Furniture, they're regional based. I know that they've got stuff in Ohio. Somebody said they have one in Pikeville. They will be replacing Movie Palace. That I got tipped off about that a little while ago. So I think that's a great location right off Dixie. Should be plenty of parking. You can access it off Dixie. You could access off Woodland, or if you come off the bypass, just do that quick U-turn and go back on Woodland. So
Mhm.
obviously it's gonna be huge. I know that they're praised for their customer service. They're praised for their selection, their ability to hit stuff if they don't have it. So I think it's gonna be a great addition. I know that we've kind of been lacking
Mhm.
in furniture. I don't buy a whole lot. As you can tell by
Mhm.
my background, I'm not the best interior designer, but
Mhm.
I think people are going to be thrilled with it, and obviously new jobs, and to see Movie Palace get another life, which is good because my dad helped do Movie Palace way back when, so it's nice to see that building come alive again.
It's great. Where are they based out of? Is it do they have other locations, or is it?
Oh yeah, they've
Oh
got
yeah.
several. I think they're
Okay.
regional, so I think they're
Okay.
based in Ohio. I'd have to check it real
Mhm.
fast, but I think they're
Yeah.
based in Ohio. They got several in Kentucky. That's West Virginia. I think they have some too.
Okay.
So
That's great.
so I think that'll be great. And
That's
Uh,
great. I also heard I saw a comment from you on Facebook it was yesterday, the day before. Somebody was asking about an update on the mall, and you were like, "There's not much out there," but
uh,
um,
yeah, because they're just not going to announce a lot until everything's set in stone. People are able to see it. I mean, I don't think people want to book
uh,
it. I don't think people want to. I'm not a builder. I'm not a developer. I'm not a businessman, but I've been told that you don't want to book it without seeing it, seeing what the
yeah,
final product is, seeing the space, seeing it's finished. I would just be able to
okay,
send somebody uh, site scoping, I guess. But I do
mhm,
know that 360 Degrees has moved. They have moved into the Namaste building. I think they
okay,
started this week, the clothing store, so they moved out there. The barber shop, Blue Strip, has changed its name and it's going to Radcliffe. I forget the name of that change. And Sam's Gyros, that was in the food court, they are moving next to between GameStop and Kanzai. So they'll be opening pretty
okay,
soon. There is a sign there. That sign is there. So I think that'd be good for Sam. He had mentioned that he ran out of a food truck for a while. And
okay,
then I'm pretty sure Burlington's coming. I believe that'll
okay,
be next to Belk. I think that's where maybe Children's Place was or where the blood thing
mhm,
was
Right.
in that spot. They'll be going there. I've heard Home Goods. I have no confirmation on that.
mhm,
Uh, so
okay,
uh, I know that American Eagle just got a bigger spot when they moved. I know Victoria's starting next few weeks. Victoria's Secret's going to move. They're going to have it in a bigger spot. They'll have more pink on brand. So I'm sure the ladies
mhm,
will love that one and people buying for the ladies. Uh, they're going to end up with a bigger spot, and some of the other ones are going to end up with bigger spots as well. So some of the faces that we've known and seen and loved will just be moving a few doors down and end up with better spots. And I'm
okay,
sure once the construction and you see the road go through, a lot more stuff. I know the original design, I think, had maybe restaurants on all four corners with outdoor
mhm,
dining, so that'd be nice. I know we'd lose the indoor playground, which I know upset a lot of
mhm,
people. But I think it's good. I think it's gonna be better in the long run. I'm excited for the vision. I'm glad that some
yeah,
a local like Tim Albach is taking it on
mhm,
because it's not cheap. Like he put
no.
millions into that.
He seems to do a real good job with that on every project I've seen him do. It's we're lucky as a community to have a guy like him around.
He's a visionary as far as real estate goes and developing. He's done a great job for us throughout this community and the surrounding area. So I trust in his vision for that building and what that's going to bring as far as jobs and just a better atmosphere and another asset to the community.
I
Yes.
agree.
Well, Nate, thanks for that update. Um,
No
feel free
problem.
to stay in and participate in the conversation, obviously. But if
Oh well.
I think you said you had more time, so you don't have to drop out as quickly today.
No, I've got more time today, so I'll be around.
It's
Okay.
always good to catch up with Nate. So that's good.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you.
John,
What's up?
What's up, John?
you see that clip I did where you're talking about non-alcoholic?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, good.
I was trying to make a joke out of it, but I didn't have time to do what I really wanted to. But
Yeah.
appreciate you joining us again and appreciate
Yeah,
the
for
time
sure.
you put into this. So I see we got quite a few events to go over. So I kind of let you start
We
off
do
with
have
what
quite
you
a few
want.
events. So I mean, so we got some music events that are coming on this coming weekend. Mark Chestnut will be at the State Theater on Friday at 7 p.m. I think there's still some tickets available for that. So that'd be a good thing to check out. And then come downtown after that and visit one of the bars or restaurants after the show. They're all open pretty much till around 11, some places 1, as far as the bars. Also out at the lake, we were talking about the amphitheater out there, the Emerald Cathedral Amphitheater. We have the first of 3, I think, this summer series this Friday, or actually Saturday. My bad, Saturday.
Yep.
Nate Curran, right?
That's correct. Nate Curran. Yeah. I just posted something on him on my personal page, Facebook page today. And you can, you can go to YouTube and search him and you're going to find he's very energetic and he's got some great music. So we're very blessed to partner with the Little Blue House that helped us find this talent and looking forward to it because he's definitely a great performer and a great artist.
For sure. Other things like music wise, we have the first Tavern in the Garden tomorrow at the Brown Pusey House, 6 to 9. We got Nick Dittmeyer out there.
Yeah, he's one of
With
my favorites for sure.
he's amazing. I guess it is just Nick. No Sawdusters, but he does a good solo show too.
He does. Yes, he does.
With the old school flavor
Message on your
trailer,
phone from ID.
Doosters, and then that's sponsored by the Fab Lab and the Home Kentucky Realty in Kentucky, which they're good sponsors for them. Also tomorrow we got the walking tour downtown here. So meeting downtown. If you haven't ever been to the walking tour, learn the historic stuff about downtown, it's a great time to do it. It's every Thursday through the summer, and then again after that, pop in and check out the food trucks and the music at the Brown Pusey. As far as what else we got going on, there's a couple other kid-friendly stuff. This is pretty awesome. I got the Children's Fair on Saturday out at the Ernie Williams Pavilion, which is a great time. Games, booths, prizes. I think they're giving a raffle or a giveaway for some bikes out there too. Face painting, all that fun stuff.
Where's that at? Where's that pavilion at?
The Ernie Williams Pavilion at Freeman Lake.
Okay.
Yep. I think it's one of the biggest pavilions out there, right? Pretty sure.
I believe so.
And it's got all that big area around it to have all the things set up. Should be a really fun time. Also on Saturday, you got the Pride Festival at Flywheel Brewing. That's gonna be a fun time. They're gonna have drink specials, donations supporting LGBTQ charities in Kentucky, which would be a great thing as well. Something that started last week for kids, they're doing a toy drive out at Boundary Oak for the chapter of the Kentucky Colonels, the Central Kentucky chapter, Kentucky Colonels, for the tornado in London. So that's a good thing to kind of give some toys to. You know, toys were lost as well. That's big for kids to have.
And I hear there's going to be a food truck roundup. Where's it? What's that about?
Food truck roundup. So there's going to be one on today at Thurman's Landing in Sonora. And there's also going to be one on June 18th from 4 to 7. So that's a fun thing if you want to check out some of the local food trucks. They have 4 to 5 food trucks out there. And Thurman Landing, if you haven't been out there, that's a beautiful just place to go hang out. It's a beautiful venue for weddings and things like that as well.
That's great. And what's this Meet the Masons event?
Meet the Masons. So if you want to kind of check out what the Masons do, they're having a little Meet the Masons on the 7th. Here on the on 62 or Mulberry again. Look for that big Shriner statue. That's where it's at. They're going to have a magician there too, doing a little magic show, Aaron Harp Magic. So that'd be something fun for the kids to check out.
That'd be cool.
Right. And I guess it's National Garden Week.
It is also National Garden Week. So the 1st through the 7th, a lot of different activities that are going on during that. Brown Pusey has their garden club meeting. And the Ladybug release at the library is happening.
Great.
Nice.
And what's this thing about the I know from back when we used to live stream, the one company that's still there doing their running is Running Souls.
Running Souls, yeah. So Running Souls is here downtown, super local business. They got one in Campbellsville as well. But they do a running group every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's all levels. Everybody's there. I've done it one time too. I don't run, I jog is what I call it. So because jogging is walking and walking is jogging, so everybody can jog. Not everybody can run, but everybody can jog. But they accept all levels, and they just do a little lap, and then they come back, hang out, and have that camaraderie, that community. Some of them also will come to BBT afterwards, and we give a deal to the runners that are in that club on some beers that night.
I'm glad you pointed out some of the details in it, because I've seen people have seen them and say, okay, how do you get involved in that? Is there a charge? Is there a website? What do you have to do? And you kind of just laid it out there and say, hey, it's a lot easier than you think it is.
Yeah, and the running club is free. It's free. All you gotta do is show up. That's it.
Yeah, I think the mountain bikers also have they gather weekly, I think, to ride Buffalo Lake and some other areas in E-Town. So You know, if you're having a hard time finding something to do in Elizabethtown this weekend or any time during the summer or any time really, you're not looking very hard because there's a lot of great organizations that we have in our community that are offering outstanding entertainment and participation and community involvement for great causes as well. So, you know, I encourage
Mhm.
everybody to get out there and join these things and just go out and check them out and have a good time and you know, help a local civic organization and help our history museum and other places like that still be able to offer these things.
Yeah, that's
Definitely.
great. Well, John, thanks for that update. Is there anything else you got that you wanted to throw in, or you cover
Um,
everything?
I think pretty much everything. I mean, there's live music always down here downtown during the weekends as well. BBT's got live music.
Hmm.
I think that Flywheel had a show last week that was a big hit. Do want to say that they always put on a show when it's a good show there. They bring out the crowd, and it was a fun time.
Okay, great.
John, I just want to ask John, being a local business downtown, like I said, I did go to the theater or I did go to the show the other night. I think it got done at 8 o'clock, which I kind of liked because one, the light was still out, and two, it made getting out easier. While because I know parking can be difficult, but it looks like I heard BBT and Docs and Flywheel and a lot of other places just had great Saturday nights business wise by people walking in and coming in and that may have not have used to before. Did you kind of see that, John?
Yes, we were slammed. So, like normally, I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I worked actually Saturday. We opened up at noon, and we actually had traffic all throughout the day. It did get a big rush there when that show ended, but we had people coming to get drinks from us and head back over to the show, kind of in between the sets, which helped us out throughout the day, and it also kind of got them a spot to that's where I want to go later on after the show. But yeah, no, a big rush after the show for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I saw a lot of people with the beer cups coming in. I saw people with Impellizzeri's Pizza. I saw people with Dreamery Gelato. Looks like this was a win-win, not only for the city to give us a great free entertainment, but also for the local businesses to be able to feed off that as well.
Definitely.
Great. Well, we'll go ahead and segment over to Matt. I know before he talked about politics, he wanted to talk some about the summer concert series. So Matt, take it away. And if
Yeah.
you want to, I think everybody knows who you are, so I won't really introduce you, but he's our
All
state
right. Well,
senator.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I've got the Green Space Summer Concert Series in the Emerald Cathedral Amphitheater is starting this weekend, and that was made possible through a grant through the Kentucky Trail Town program, which is a part of the Kentucky Department of Tourism. So I was proud to sponsor that funding in our state budget, and it went out to $25,000 grants to 29 of our trail towns across the Commonwealth, and Elizabethtown being Kentucky's first urban trail town, of course, qualified for that grant. And Green Space submitted that grant on behalf of the Kentucky first urban trail town, and they received it. And that goes to promoting events along our trails, to bring people into our trails, to introduce them to the trails, but to provide activities and also to do maintenance, any kind of maintenance or advertising or trail events. Could be recreational events. You know, we've got a really strong and growing mountain bike population here with high school and middle school mountain bike teams. David Haynes is also the president of Green Space, and he coaches those mountain bike teams, and along with a lot of parents and volunteers. And you know, they brought middle school and high school state championship mountain bike races right here to Elizabethtown, and that's driving tourism. And across the state of or the Commonwealth of Kentucky, tourism has seen record revenue in the last two cycles. And so they are setting records. And I think a lot of that has to do with promoting programs like the Kentucky Trailtown program that we're able to benefit from and help us maintain and put in bridges and make sure that those trails are available to the public. So very, very proud of that funding opportunity and excited about the entire summer concert series. This is our second go around with it. We did it right before COVID there, and then COVID hit, and so we took some time off there, and now we're back and doing that. And I'm proud to serve on the board of Green Space with a lot of great people and volunteers to help maintain our parks and trails in this area. So it's exciting time, and we've got some great shows coming. I'm not going to kid you. Nate Curran is wonderful. He's going to open us up this Saturday at 6 p.m. And again, it ends around 8:30. So you got plenty of time to get out. You can enter over there on Pearl Orchard Road, park at Grace Heartland Church or the First Presbyterian Church, and just a short little walk right into the woods there along the trail, and you'll be at the Emerald Cathedral Amphitheater. So it's a pretty
Hmm.
unique venue, especially in the summertime when it's hot. That whole venue is, of course, underneath the shaded canopy of the woods there along the Freeman Lake Trail. So it's just a beautiful
Hmm.
natural amphitheater. Seats about 500 people, so it's an intimate concert. You feel like you're right there on the stage with the performer, and just great acoustics in there.
Yeah. I remember back, 10 years ago when you first started. I don't know if it's 10 years ago, it might have been longer,
Yeah,
but you
it's
would
been
have
a
the
while.
paddling events and you've really done a lot for green space in Hardin County. Have been a
Well, I
leader
appreciate that.
and,
Thank you.
done a lot of work. I've seen it firsthand, so appreciate it.
Well, you've been a great part of that too, and working with you through Hardin Local during those times, and now it's great to get that information out to the community, and so that they're aware of what's available right in their own backyard. They don't have to go very
Hmm.
far to
Hmm.
be in the great outdoors, so to speak, and to recreate outdoors and to enjoy some great venues and concerts and activities. I
Yeah.
think they did a great job of planting some trees with some young kids over at the nature park during Earth Day and all of that. So it's just exciting times.
Okay. I know you wanted, there was one question I didn't write down that I know that I wanted to bring up about funding, I think, into Hardin County.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to talk
Uh,
some about that.
Yeah, in the last budget, we were I was able to, with the help of my colleagues in the House and in the Senate, there was able to secure record funding for Hardin County. It's the most money ever brought into Hardin County, dealing with our infrastructure improvements, road funds. We were able to secure 84 million in the 2-year road plan and 401 million in the 6-year road plan. Those were records. So we will have a lot of money coming into Hardin County, and I'm just blessed to represent the people of Hardin County and to help bring that about. We've seen record
Hmm.
infrastructure funding with $30 million coming in for water and sewer lines, and just so
Hmm.
much more. We've been able to see year over year historic raises for our teachers here, and there's just a lot of things there that were in the budget that very
Hmm.
exciting. Another $7 million for conservation efforts and across the Commonwealth, but mainly right here in District 10 that I represent, and I was glad to champion a lot of those funding opportunities as well.
Okay. You mentioned teachers and education funding. What type of progress has been made on that teacher recruitment and funding and raises for teachers?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. We have got this last budget cycle, we were able to secure a 9% increase in SEEK formula funding for our schools. And what that broke down into in the side of a 24-month budget cycle was a 3% SEEK formula funding raise in the first year, and a 6% raise, which is going to take effect here in July for our schools in the second year, for a total of 9% increase in SEEK formula funding. Well, what does that translate into? Well, in the first year, the 3% raise allowed all of our teachers in this area to get 5% or more raise in their first year of the budget cycle. And again, that money is going to be available to these schools, and I think our teachers are going to be pleased to hear that they'll be getting a raise as well here beginning in July. To what percent will be left up to each district, but we're excited about that opportunity. So in a short period of time, I believe we've done some great things. And as far as
Hmm.
recruiting teachers, we've seen a teacher shortage across the
Hmm.
Commonwealth, and so we've been working very hard to incentivize the front end of educators coming into the profession. So we were able to secure $2 million in teacher scholarship funds available for those that are going into education. We were also able to put in a pilot program that provided teachers with a $5,000 stipend when they student teach, when they first come out of college and start student teaching. So that's a great incentive. And we've done a lot of things. We've also put a teacher loan forgiveness program in place, and we're
Hmm.
excited about that pilot program. So I know there's a lot of organizations in education that are doing some wonderful things right now in the realm of recruiting and retention of teachers, and really it's was a great budget year for that. Historic funding year over year in the last budget.
Great, great. What about any initiatives related to police and veterans that you're working on?
Well, thank you. That, there's our main job is to keep the community safe and to protect our citizens, and that I think as legislators, we should never take the eye off that ball there, because that's our number one priority.
Mhm.
And we were able to put $50 million into a new police training facility down in Madisonville, and so we're excited about that being open and training our police officers. And we were also able to expand the SRO program in our schools to help our children in our schools remain safe. So we're excited about those, and those are a lot of
Mhm.
opportunities for veterans to transfer into these type of positions that have
Mhm.
experience like that. So it's really good. We've really looked out for our police and our officers and our emergency services. We've put back quite a bit of money into our rainy day fund, and thank goodness we did, because of all the floods and tornadoes and all of those things going on, not only here, but across the Commonwealth. So it's great to
Mhm.
partner with FEMA and get a lot of those funds secured.
Mhm.
And our veterans, I was able to secure, along with my colleagues, about $9 million for renovations and opening up a wing over at the Radcliffe Veterans Center. And so for the last few years, they have been without heating and air conditioning, and a part of their wing has not been operational. And this investment will allow us to get that area opened to our veterans that need those opportunities for care in their latter years.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
it's great to be this nestled up next to Fort Knox and to be able to provide that funding as well. We're also working with VSOs, our American Legions,
Mhm.
VFWs, and our DAV members, and
Mhm.
JECVO, to
Mhm.
help them do as much as they can for veterans.
Mhm. That's great. And I know last week we talked with Keith Judge Tall about flood recovery efforts, and just kind of curious to bring this up just in case there are any other citizens in the area that don't feel like they've been taken care of, but give you also an opportunity
Right.
to speak on that.
Sure. I think there's opportunities, and sometimes where insurance doesn't cover, and then people can make file claims with FEMA. And we've been really blessed to have a lot of volunteer helps from our volunteer fire departments, and our emergency service response has been, I think, tremendous during the floods. I myself, along with many other leaders from Hardin County, have traveled all over the county to assess damages and to talk to people in those communities, and to try to steer them in the right direction to fill out applications for FEMA assistance. And, it's a process. You get an emergency certification or declaration at first, and that opens up Red Cross and about $5 million worth of emergency services, immediate help, feeding stations and things like that. But as you go forward, you really need the federal level disaster declaration to really open up funding for individual assistance and for public assistance to reimburse our counties and our other emergency services that have done a wonderful
Mhm.
job and expended resources to help families.
Great. I didn't mention I do like that suit jacket you got on there.
Oh, thank you. I
The
appreciate that.
outfit goes. What's something that you've learned since you started being a senator that you didn't know
Well,
before?
Well, I wish there was time in the day to tell you all of the things I've learned that I didn't know before. It is like drinking out of a fire hydrant when you get to Frankfurt. Uh, but being on the budget committee in my first couple of years really opened my eyes to a lot of our funding and where we get our money and how it all works. And working with workforce development issues with our
Mhm.
community colleges. For example, here in Elizabethtown, we were able to secure a $60 million investment into the VOTEC and trade school program there at ECTC. So that will help with our workforce development. So working on those things and diving in to just a lot of issues with veterans, with agriculture, and with the judiciary, really with all of our courts, because I do serve on that committee as well. So, there's just a lot of things to learn, and I learn something new every day. But there's not a day goes by that I'm not humbled and blessed to have the opportunity to represent Hardin County and Frankfurt. I still get chills every time I walk into the chamber
Mhm.
and that wonderful building. It's quite striking when you stop and think about it. And I'm very blessed to be able to do this and represent us.
What's a good way if anybody needs to get in touch with you? What how do you prefer to be contacted?
Sure, they can contact my office directly in Frankfurt, and they can call the LRC switchboard there, and
Okay.
just ask for my office, and they'll transfer you there. Or you can reach out through. I'm pretty available. I try to be at as many community events as possible when I'm in district and not in Frankfurt.
Mhm.
And I'm always try to be accessible to people that have questions or want to share a concern or something that they might have an idea on for a bill. You
Mhm.
know, a lot of the greatest bills, and I would say majority, come from a constituent that said, "Hey, you know, is there something we can do about this issue, or can we improve this area?" And those ideas are discussed, and a lot of those come out to be great bills for not only Hardin County but for the whole Commonwealth. So, yeah, they can reach out to me on my website at DeneenKYSenate.com, or they can reach out to me on Facebook, Matt Deneen State Senator, my Facebook page. Or they can email me at matthew.deneen, kylegislature.gov. They can reach me through there. So I try to be as accessible as possible. So if people have great ideas and are willing to help me see them through, I'll be glad to work with
Mhm.
anybody.
I remember when I was in high school, I was a legislative intern or aide for Tom Reiner. Um,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, I mean, if there's any parents watching or that have kids that may want to do that, is that still something they offer up there where somebody could?
Absolutely. We do have a PAGE program in Bluegrass Middle
Mhm.
School, and our other middle schools and high schools throughout the area normally send pages for a day
Mhm.
to come to Frankfurt and to experience the legislative process. They attend committee meetings. They also attend the floor session there in the chamber and assist us with bills and running errands and just they just
Mhm.
get a whole a tour of the Capitol and how the whole process works. And I think it's very educational, and I'm so glad we do it. We have the
Mhm.
Sunny Page program as well for disabled students, and that was brought in by our previous senator, Senator Dennis Parrott, was a part of that program, establishing that, and so we're very proud to continue those types of programs and page
Mhm.
programs and giving everybody the opportunity to experience it.
And how old do you have to be to do that? Or is there an age on
Actually,
it?
no, we've had elementary students, middle school students. You know, we've had all ages.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, great. Well, we thank you for your time, Senator.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you,
thank you
man.
for having me. I appreciate being on the show. It's always great to work with you, Phil Tall, and I appreciate Hardin Local. You guys are doing a great job, and welcome back. I'm glad to see you back active and back on the scene and promoting community events. So thank you.
Okay. Well, before
Thank
we
you.
jump off, I thought I'd give everybody time to give a shout out if you need a shout out. I know the shout out I wanted to give was to Stu Sullivan. Happy 50th birthday, sir.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Anybody
birthday to
else?
you.
Yeah,
Got
happy
anything
birthday.
else?
Hey,
Or
and
you
I'll be
guys all
remiss
good?
now if I didn't shout out to my oldest daughter. She's getting ready to deliver our first grandbaby coming up here in a few weeks. So we're pretty excited about a new addition. We'll have our first granddaughter. Um, so we're excited and want to wish her well. She's lives in Lexington, is working in Frankfurt, and I'm sure she'll be watching this and checking in. So
Hmm.
love you, baby, and I'm looking forward to being a granddaddy.
That's
Congrats.
exciting.
Congrats.
That
Congratulations.
is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
I got a
awesome.
couple comments here. I figured I'd go like Teddy Hall Jr. shouted out to John,
Oh,
and somebody else shouted out to Chuck. Who's Chuck? I don't know. Does one of y'all known as Chuck?
No, it's Chuck
I
Hall,
agree.
right?
And I agree,
no.
Jamie. People from Georgia are special. So let's see. Chuck Hall said he missed the local butcher putting in work at Hub House. I don't know. Does anybody know what that means?
Oh,
Is
okay.
there a
Local butcher is moving in the old Fastenal building downtown, across from
oh,
the
okay.
cemetery. They had nothing to do with the building getting knocked down next to it. They are based out of Campbellsville. The owner is Bradshaw Smoot. I know he just got married this weekend too. So, but they have teamed up with Hub House. All of Hub House's meats are coming from the local butcher. in the
Interesting.
Campbellsville. And if you were out at the party concert, they had the local butcher tent, but it was both the local butcher and Hub House people together grilling out those burgers. I did have one of them; they were great, and people were able to walk inside and hang out with Hub House. So it's a good joint venture between the two. I think
Mhm.
people have been asking for that's another business update people have missed. We are getting our own, so you don't have to go to Boone's anymore. As good as Boone's is, as they've been great for our community. That we'll have a local butcher downtown. I think they're supposed to be open by. I think they were shooting for August. So
August, and you said in the old Fastenal building.
correct. It's been complete. It's going to be remodeled. There's plenty of parking out there. And then because Hub House said that's great because now you could practically walk to get their own food if they wanted to, but it's within a mile of
Mhm.
the restaurants and the other places I'll be using them too.
Great. I see you there, Harvey. He said congratulations to you, Matt, on being a grandfather.
Hey, thank you.
I think that about covers all. Oh, Keith Megan Tall said welcome to Nate and said they follow and appreciate all your posts on Facebook. So
It's always great when I go out in the community and somebody knows me and it's like, oh, you're that Facebook guy, which is completely fine. I love meeting everybody. I've been able to get some hints and tips of people that say, hey, did you know this? And I would check into it and find out. And turns out it's another post in a few days. But I'm a very talkative guy, as you all probably figured out. So just if anybody follows
Mhm.
me and wants to send me a message or sees me around town, that I am perfectly willing to talk to you and I'll give you some time.
Great. Um, so I did want to take a minute and just remind everybody to go to hardinlocal.com. Go ahead and do it now while I'm talking and just click on the little bell in the top left-hand corner and put your email address in at the very least. You can look on that page and sign up for some of our other social media accounts and pre-register for our website, which we're working on. We're kind of more focused on the live streaming for now, and that'll come later. Scott, you got anything else?
Man, we covered a lot of good information. John covered a lot of the events. Matt, thank you for your talk as well as far as the government. Nate, you as well, my man. You give a lot of wealth of information. So, as far as anything I want to add, just be safe out there. Just you can't stress that enough. We're busier, of course. We've got a lot of things going on. Just be safe, be mindful, be aware, and just be nice to one another. You don't have nothing else to say, don't say it at all, I guess.
Yes, and also for any business owners out there, we will be looking in the next couple weeks to start having a weekly sponsor for our videos. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go to hardinlocal.com, fill out the I'm a business owner form, and we'll see that and reach out to you individually on that side. Just a reminder that everybody on this call is none of us are paid. We all do this as a volunteer effort at this point. And really appreciate that, you guys. Thank you. And thank each of you for being here. Thank you, Matt, for coming. And
Thank
it's a
you.
funny story about how Matt came on because I thought about him yesterday morning, but then I got busy. Yeah. And he reached out to me by the end of the day. So it was pretty cool how things work out.
Yeah.
So we thank
Yeah.
you, Matt.
For sure.
Thank you. All right. You have a great day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All righty, everybody. Stay in the know, Hardin Local.